Hi, welcome to the Get Miss Toy. I'm your host, James Hard, and with me is...
Bill Duncan.
Today's discussion is on a book, Crime and Punishment by Fyodor Dostoevsky. I'll give a brief summary of it. It's an ex-student. He becomes really poor, and he has all these ideas that he's writing about, and one of his main ideas is this idea that Napoleon, a person like Napoleon, is an exceptional being, and you can do something radically wrong and still redeem yourself as an exceptional being.
Right.
And so this poor guy, he refuses money from his friends or his parents, and he goes and he robs this pawnbroker woman, and he kills her and her half sister by accident. Like she was just there, and the character is he's very nervous, and he's an antisocial. He doesn't like the world and stuff, and he ends up the detective is always after him and asking him questions, but he has no hard evidence because there's all these coincidences that happen that he gets away with it.
Or Shutter Island. That's what it sounds like.
No, there's no twists like that. There's no all of a sudden it's a psych ward.
That kind of
No.
what? Yeah.
And then the end, he does end up confessing his crime and going to jail. There's a lot of different characters in it that I didn't mention, but that's basically the story. And Crime and Punishment is misleading because it's not about crime and punishment. It's not a book about law and stuff.
Not something
It's more about I think Noam Chomsky said it once in one of his movies. He said that what if America did a bunch of killed a bunch of people, but it was for the better good, or any country or anyone killed people in order to save people in the future. And that relates to you're talking about going back in time and stuff.
Yeah, my theory is almost everywhere.
So if you could go back in time, what would you change, and who would you save?
I don't know. It's all those funny what ifs.
Yeah.
And I mean, what if you did do this? Why didn't you? Just doing not turning right, and that was the actual episode in Doctor Who. Turn right or turn left, and you could, I don't know.
The main theme in the book is I guess is the morality of murder. Is murder wrong if you're and also ideological intoxication, where he's intoxicated with all these nihilistic ideas. You're talking about hippie nihilism, and Dostoevsky paints a very dark picture of nihilists. That they're this character in this book who kills two people just because he's written all these essays on why he should be allowed to do that, because he's going to be a better person in the future when he's not poor.
Okay.
And it relates to mental illness, because a lot of people have the delusion that they're going to do something good for the world, and they do something really bizarrely wrong, and it's only good in their head, right?
Because there's people out there that think they're the main character, kind of they're the superhero of the day.
Yeah.
A rock star of now. All that,
It's interesting. I like there's all this walking around and thinking. He walks over all these bridges, and he gets in he has all these little adventures and stuff, and at the beginning to establishing his character and stuff. Yeah, it's any
character development too in a lot of good ways.
Yeah.
you're establishing a good character. I mean, I have said in the past that I could be a face of the author, but just a character. And I don't know. Have like sides that we sometimes ask in a way.
That's how I felt in this book. I really identified with the character, but because he murdered someone, it makes it really awkward to like identify with someone who like murders someone.
Yeah, because you don't want to friggin' snap and
No.
like go hectic, right?
No.
Hold on, I'll be right back.
It's time to feed the parakeet, I guess.
Well, brain fart or not, I'm back.
Dead air, phone calls, and brain farts. But what do you think of the story? Too grim? Too dark?
Well, sometimes, like, as long as you're not gory about it when it comes to death, you don't, like, make it, like, yeah.
It's not gory. It's mostly like psychological and deals with his guilt and I don't know, just like strange ideas that make you crazy. But,
or all those like the Green Mile and the Snake Slasher, yeah.
it's interesting the dramatic irony of the detective and the main character, who's like, after he did the murder, the detective would bring him in for questioning because he kind of like, he suspected him a little bit, and the character would almost give himself away because he's just in such like a nervous state of just like, he's being
so
investigated,
nervous.
and he just did this murder not too long ago, and he went and hid the jewels underneath a rock.
Oh.
And the detective is talking to him, and he's reading his essay, and in his essay he's saying these things about like how he thinks he's kind of like a Napoleon, that he can get away with a crime because he's better than everyone else or something like that. Or the word was exceptional, that he's an exceptional person.
Oh, okay.
So what do you think of exceptional people? Do you think they should be able to get away with murder?
Like that Limitless kid from Limitless?
Who's that?
Well, that like, it was a movie that now is a TV show. But Limitless was about taking a pill, and it's just like made you super intelligent. Yeah, it's a good movie. And it's also made into a TV show, so it's using every part of your brain cells, all your brain cells. But hey, that's like, I don't know.
What comic book does this story sound like?
I don't know. Kind of reminds me of how like people are anti-heroes. I don't know.
Yeah,
I mean,
that's exactly what he is. He's an anti-hero. He's not doing something that you admire. He's like killing a pawnbroker lady who's like, and he justified it also by saying she was like kind of a wicked woman, and she would like rip people off and stuff. She was a nasty character, and but that still doesn't justify murder.
just has to toxic Avenger. Most of the time, he wouldn't like kill any like. He wouldn't kill any law-abiding citizens, only criminals. It's funny because in the Toxic Avenger, he accidentally kills a old lady, but then they find out that she's like completely like kind of witch. Yeah, kind of like or completely corrupt kind of evil person, evil old lady. But yeah, that's Toxic Avenger.
I would probably say it's one of my favorite books. I don't know if I'd say it was my favorite, but it came at a time that I really needed it. It was like I was like in a low state of mind, and then I was reading it, and it just absorbed into it. It's just like, it's pretty thick. It's not as thick as The Count of Monte Cristo or The Brothers Karamazov.
Yeah,
it's just a little bit thinner. And then it's about the same size as The Prince.
Oh.
They say he wrote it. That was his first one that he wrote in his like mature writing years, they call it. But I like his earlier writing also. It's also interesting.
Huh.
What would be your favorite novel? Best book ever?
I don't know. I think one of the first books I read was science fiction. It was Speaker of the Dead, Ender's Game.
Oh yeah. Mormon science fiction. Well, he's Mormon. I don't know if the science fiction was Mormon. Was it? Orson Scott Card, is that his name?
Yeah, Ender's Game and Speaker of the Dead. And he also wrote a really, really cool story about using your voice as a weapon. I have it in short story form, but it's really cool. I mean, it's funny how sometimes some of these things that I read then become movies. Because everybody's lazy. Oh, I'll see the movie. No, reading is just as good. It just makes it a different version.
Yeah, I was speaking to Sharon about this, as saying like the books are like you make movies out of books, so you can't really compare them. You can't say, well, movies are better than books. I'm only going to watch movies. Because she was saying she was only going to watch movies, and I was like, well, books are just something different. It's like video games and movies. It's like if you just say you're just going to watch movies and not read any books, then it's kind of like you're missing out on some goodies.
Yeah.
Some things you'll be really interested in.
Yeah.
Because movies don't have everything.
No, not always. I mean, sometimes they're just characters.
Like this book, Crime and Punishment, I don't think there's a movie out with Crime and Punishment. There might be. I haven't looked it up.
Yeah.
So what sort of characters do you identify with in comics, like, that you kind of feel like, I'm kind of like that person?
I don't know.
The Fantastic Four?
State that question again?
Oh, which character do you identify with? Do you identify with someone in the Fantastic Four? Like, identify like...
Yeah, well, no, I see them more of like a team. And they all dress the same, and they all do like, even though they have like different specialties, I mean, they still work as a team. And that's always good. I don't know, I have a lot of like comic heroes, like superheroes I looked up to over the years. Of course, any kid that threw temper tantrums was a fan of the Hulk. And that's why so many kids could relate to him. And that's why he's pretty solid and Yeah, an important character.
So who was it that got murdered recently? Was it Captain America?
He got assassinated in the Civil War story, which they're bringing back because of the battle world or battle planet that Marvel has, and how they're basically having it like a world, like just sewn together. It's kind of cool. I say to pick it up if you see it. Secret Wars, because they're even like with the Secret Wars, they're also bringing back like old storylines, and it's kind of cool. It's interesting. But even in like when you're a superhero, there's also politics about that. And it's just interesting how there are genuine stories out there that can really like explain it all.
What's your favorite storyline? You don't like origin stories.
No, well, as long as you don't do the origin story over and over, like I don't know, but I think it was probably a bit different each and every time. But even still.
Do you think Star Wars was a good story?
Yeah, it's a space opera. Same with Doctor Who, that's a space opera. And that was like real,
What makes space operas good?
Day to day, going ons, doing something. Having your show like 3 or 4 times a week. Yeah, it was big in Britain for a long ass time. It still kind of is. I mean, it's still a really successful kind of franchise or franchises.
And we did the Brothers Karamazov. That's the same author. That was the story of like all those brothers, and then the father getting killed. There's always someone getting killed, but there's always like just like a few murders. It's not like a bloodbath.
Yeah.
It's not gory. The whole point of the murders is like to make the crime, just like crime stories always have a murder.
We're going postal.
We're going postal. That'd be it.
There. Yeah.
Can you imagine writing a book like that? You're just like, and then he went into the other room and shot the guy in the head. And then he shot him in the knees, and then he shot him in
That's interesting.
I played that game too. Did you play the game? Going postal?
I might have.
It's just like a little tiny character on the screen, and he's like spinning around with a gun, shooting everyone. And they're like, ah, and they're all making like noises like they're injured.
Right.
It was a pretty gory game. Can't believe they made it. So, do you think murder's taboo as a subject? Is it taboo in comics? Like, there's no murders, hardly any, and then just
there's comics like Stray Bullets. I mean, there's a whole bunch of interesting kind of horror comics, and they're out there.
It's in my favorite cartoon, Hercules. The bad guys, they just got lifted up in the air and like carried around, and they didn't die or anything because they were in the next episode.
Oh.
Unless it was one of those monsters like, and then I think he killed them, threw a big rock on them or something.
Battle, beasts battling. McMahon Stadium. But how are you a fan of Godzilla?
I ran out of Godzilla when I was a kid in the theater. I ran out.
You got that scared of it?
Yeah, I was really young though. I must have been like 5 or something.
Oh.
I don't know what I was doing watching Godzilla at that age. It scared the crap out of me. All of a sudden, there's like big monster in the city. It's like, and the city looks like you're in the theater. It looks like you're in the town, kind of. And it's real. Like you can't tell the difference between the theater and the big city that the monster's in.
Which is a great size, because like that's how people like. They want their own already made models, so they can like act like they're God and watch all these small little different. Overseen by giants, the giant that sleeps. The sleeping giant in the small lake.
Well, we have about 6 or 7 minutes left. Is there any questions you want to ask me about the book or anything? Because I know it's not your cup of tea, but
I don't know, like what graphic novels have you read other than comic books? Actual thick printed story.
I used to read
graphic novel.
those Tintin's ones, but that's about it. Tintin and Asterix. Obelix. They're not really thick though, they're thin ones. I haven't read like a big thick one.
Oh, okay. Because I got a whole shelf of them, so yeah. So, yeah, I do my reading more with like, oh, he needs pictures.
Yeah, I don't know. I think I like just words. It's my preference.
Yeah.
But,
well, I don't know. I mean, I was thinking just the other day how I remember like reading like the Marvel actual like written guide with no cartooning, just like showing a big long text with like and a picture of the superhero. And always to me it felt like wow, my imagination made it better in a way. Strange. Especially when your brain is blossoming.
So as for new shows coming up, do you have any new ideas?
I don't know. I had a few ideas. I don't know. I mean, that's what it would be interesting if you can do some research on a graphic novel or something. You can dive into that, or I'll just give you a whole bunch of freebies when you visit me next.
I'd have to like the stories.
Yeah, it just gets. I have way too much of it at this point. I mean, it's trivial. It's very trivial to me because a lot of it is just kind of like common knowledge when you're only even doing your own storyline in your head. You are making that DVD, and you are asking, "What if?" That's when it comes back to, "What if? What if we did a different path? What if we?" Yeah, or even like you throw a big boulder into a lake and it ripples, right? Yeah, those ones are better, speeches, yeah.
Well, I'll read off some of the ones we have here. Expo and Olympics, Good and Evil in Comics, Richard III, September 23rd, Greys, and Stephen Hawking's. Those sound like good subjects?
I don't know, I kind of want to explore, the idea of, false future predictions, and that's why I'd be interested to go Expo, or, World Fair.
Well, that's under Expo and Olympics, we have that.
Oh, yeah, that one
Talk
too.
about World Fair there also. Well, I guess that's our show. Thank you for listening, everyone. This has been the Get Missed Toy. I'm your host, James Hart, and with me is...
Bill Duncan.